Kevin Huerter, playing alongside his brother Thomas, helped lead Shenendehowa to its first state title in basketball in 28 years. And that was just the beginning of one wild 6-month ride for Kevin. His stock as college basketball recruit skyrocketed, which led to invites to the most prestigious camps in the country. Kevin got attention and then was being wooed by many of the very best collegiate programs, and then ultimately committed to Maryland just a few weeks ago. And we are joined by Kevin Huerter, more like we have joined Kevin in his home here in Clifton Park. Thanks for having us over.
No problem. Thank you for coming.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, you've got the Terrapins shirt on. How much Maryland gear has been bought by you and the Huerter family and the Shenendehowa community within the last few weeks?
So far, just a couple shirts, a couple for everyone here.
Yeah.
You know, all my friends, a couple of them already had shirts that they like to tell me that they have already, and a couple family members, extended, have also gotten a couple shirts so far.
I'm thinking Christmas might be a really big deal for like the Maryland bookstore, doing some serious business up here.
Of course.
Let's talk about Maryland and how you ended up making your decision to be a Terrapin. And you had a lot of schools looking at you, and from what I understand, you went to Maryland and fell in love with the school.
Yeah. You know, right from the start, last spring, they really showed, you know, they wanted me right from the beginning. You know, I heard from Coach Clark every single day. You know, it slowed down a little bit after that, but you know, I heard from Coach Turgeon a lot too all summer, and they came to see me in every event I was in, every possible chance they could come and see me. They came here for an in-home visit last spring. You know, I went for my unofficial over the summer, then went for my official, obviously, you know, this past fall, and you know, right from the start, they were kind of always, you know, at the top.
Yep. There were other schools, though, that you intended to look at after your visit to Maryland. What was going to be next? Was it Michigan?
Michigan was next.
Notre Dame?
And then Notre Dame.
Decided that you wanted to commit to Maryland. Why make the decision when you did?
Because, you know, I knew going into it that, you know, in the fall, commitments come very quickly from all players, and that, you know, schools, every single school, they offer more than one person for their position. And so after leaving Maryland, I knew that, you know, they'd have other kids visiting later weekends, and that, you know, I knew Maryland was a place I wanted to be, and I didn't feel I needed to take those other visits. And, you know, I pulled the trigger right there, and, you know, had no regrets about it.
A lot of articles written about you, the term late bloomer is attached to your name, and I'm sure you've seen it. Somebody who maybe this past spring was looked at as a mid-major basketball player, and then all of a sudden you're on everybody's top 100 in the country. How did that happen? Did your game improve that much in a short period of time, or was it just more attention and more people got a chance to see you play?
I think it was more people got to see me play. You know, I really played with the City Rocks when I was 15, and then as a 16-year-old, when we played, you know, for my AAU season last year, I played with our Shen high school team. You know, our coach really wanted us to play together to get, you know, that chemistry down, which obviously we see kind of helped and worked. And so I was kind of really taken off the big recruiting stage for a year, and that I didn't go to as many big tournaments. We went to a lot of local tournaments, and we went to a couple showcases that weren't as big as, obviously, as, you know, the ones I went to this past summer. And so playing with the City Rocks, you know, this past spring and summer, and going to all the Nike events where all these coaches that were there, that's when they kind of really got to see me for, you know, they hadn't seen me for about a year and a half. So.
Because it happened seemingly so quickly for you, because all of a sudden there's so much attention, was it ever overwhelming?
A little bit. You know, in the beginning, you go from not really hearing to anyone at all to hearing from, you know, most of the major colleges on the East Coast all, you know, within a week of each other, and talking to all these head coaches that you see on TV and you don't really think of that you'd be talking to. And so it was overwhelming, you know, that with schoolwork, and I was playing baseball last year at that time, but I was still trying to think of basketball, so it was overwhelming, but it was cool at the same time.
One of the cool things I would imagine would be playing basketball with LeBron James and some other NBA players when you went out to LeBron's camp and went to a couple different camps. How surreal was that when you were actually teammates with the guy you see on TV?
It was great. You know, the one thing that we did there, we had 2 sessions to play every single day. So the first session we do drills, and the next session after that, later that night, we'd come back and play. And LeBron got in the first session and somehow jumped into the grouping I was in, you know, out of all the groups that were there. And so he went right to the front of the line, and so everyone just kind of sat there and stared at him for a little bit and watched him go do his thing. And then, you know, you started playing with him, and then you didn't really think of it too much. You know, once you start playing, and, you know, it just kind of becomes he's another player in the court. You know, like I said, I was playing 3-on-3 with him, and, you know, he was acting like he was a camper there too, and that, you know, he was trying to get better, and he was going 100%, so it was really cool to see that.
Kevin Durant, who else did you get a chance to play with?
Kevin Durant, DeMarcus Cousins, Paul George, Trey Burke, I got to play with, and then, pretty much any NBA player that has Nike to do with their name, Kobe, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, they're all there.
Of all of those guys, is there one experience that stand out where you may have had a one-on-one opportunity where they said something to you, you said something to them?
It was with LeBron, actually. When we were going full court, went 4-on-4, Anthony Davis threw a skip pass to me to a spot I should have been in, on a rotation, and I wasn't there, and it was a 4-on-4-on-4 type situation. And so the other team went up the court, and LeBron kind of came over to me and, explained where I should have been in that situation, how, when a guy moves to this spot, you need to move here. And so that was, I was listening to him. He was right up close and personal. He was talking directly to me. It wasn't.
Right.
And, so that was cool for me to hear from him.
Did you think he was going to yell at you at first?
No, it wasn't that intense, but it was cool. Yeah,
and obviously basketball has been in your blood, in your family for a very long time. You grew up with it as a ball boy at Siena Games. At what point did you think to yourself, I want to be doing that? I want to be doing something like what your dad did?
It was like you said, from being a ball kid. It was around those type of athletes, all winter. And, being a ball kid and getting there before games, 2 hours before any other fan and getting to interact with those guys. I think that's where I really kind of, fell in love with, wanting to be like them. I always kind of looked up to them. And, as I got older, more and more people told me what my dad had done at Siena. And, I saw more and more film and kept going to more and more games and interacting with all the players. And, so right from the beginning, I knew that was the level I wanted to get to.
Talk about some of the things your dad did. Of course, one of the first things that comes to mind is '89, Stanford. You've seen the game?
I have. They've replayed it a couple times on Time Warner, and we've recorded it. I think we may still have it recorded, actually, but I've seen it a couple times.
Yeah? You, tease your dad about, I don't know, the size of the shorts they're wearing or anything like that?
Oh, yeah, we mentioned it. He likes to shut those down real quick. I like to pick on a little bit watching that game, but, I probably do the similar type stuff.
You guys still play at all out in the driveway?
Not too much. No one-on-one anymore. I think he's smarter than that. We played horse a little bit, and I'll admit, they're good games still.
Yeah.
He still got it.
So yeah, you have a better jump shot though?
Yes. Yeah. He's got a good stroke though. The follow through and the stroke never went away. It's still there.
How important is basketball to the family with you and your dad and obviously your brother Thomas? Your younger sisters play basketball. Is it something that around the dinner table it's always being talked about?
Oh, right away. Like you said, my sisters are getting into it now, so there's no more coming home where my mom doesn't want to hear about that. My mom wants to hear about how their practices were, and then she's asked about our practices, and we're playing basketball 12 months out of the year. So every single night, we're talking about things we need to get better at, recalling past things that we've done, and so it's always a discussion in this house.
And now, before Maryland, one more year at Shenendehowa, and now a state championship to defend. Is there pressure off in a sense because you won a state title, because you've already committed to school, or do you feel like maybe now there's more pressure because you're going to play at Maryland and what you've already accomplished?
I don't really think there was ever really pressure. When teams talk about state championships and the type of teams that win it, the Mount Vernons, Shen never comes up in that discussion. So I think right from, even last year, we knew we were going to be good, but, state championship was never really in our eyes until really late in the season. And so, going into this year, we know we have a good group of kids back. A lot of guys that had great experience with the team last year. So we're just looking to have a great year and obviously win as many games as possible. But we don't really think there's pressure. I think we're, trying to go after more.
Like your dad, I'm too smart to challenge you to a game of one-on-one. Although we're probably the same height. 6'4", you 6'4" now?
A little bit over 6'4".
You're now over 6'4".
Yeah.
You've grown a couple inches recently, right, within the past year or so?
Past year, yeah.
Okay. However, I do think there is a basketball game that's more my speed. We're downstairs in the basement. There's the Wall of Fame for Kevin and Thomas in celebration of last year's state championship. But I'm more interested on what we've got set up over here, which is your basketball hoop. And all right, let's go. So what's your high score in this thing?
High score about like 140.
140? How is that even possible? What's the secret? Or you want to wait till it's over to tell me?
Wait till it's over.
Is it advantage left or right side?
Definitely left side. The ball is falling to that side.
I'm glad I'm here. Miss it one time. Miss so I can get back into this thing. Game. feel like I put up a good fight, but in the end, 46-27, you're the champion. Congratulations, buddy. Good luck this year.
Thank you.